Oh, Atlanta traffic, the ultimate test of performance, skill, and how much heat you can handle in the summertime. But I'm not here to complain about the traffic today. Today I'm here to answer one question. Can the 2024 Livewire Mulholland handle the chaos of city life? This thing comes at a premium price tag of $15,999 and is poised to be the ultimate urban commuter motorcycle, but is it worth the investment? We're gonna find out. Also, guys, before we dive in, I wanted to let you know that not only did I link up with Livewire, but also Cardo and Alpine Stars to do a sick giveaway for you guys. So later in the video, I'll tell you all you need to know about how to enter it, but make sure to stick around. In this 1 month review, I've put this bike to the test in real world conditions, from sitting in bumper to bumper traffic to navigating Atlanta's tight city streets. I'm going to share everything you need to know, the good, the bad, and the downright surprising. So if you're considering an electric bike for your urban commute, or you're just curious about how the Livewire stacks up, stick around because we're digging into everything in this one. All right, so guys, first pro, and this is a perfect situation to talk about it. Now, I've been riding this bike all throughout the summer, and it has had some hot days, like 100+ degree weather. And on those days, you're normally boiling on this motorcycle, not this one specifically, but a motorcycle in general. But because this bike is an electric bike and it's not blowing up gasoline inside of it to make it run, the bike runs cool, which means I get to run cool. And when in traffic and I'm stuck here and I'm not moving, I don't got no air flowing through me, it is so nice to not have a bike that's boiling me alive on top of the environment that's trying to boil me alive. Speaking of traffic, I guess we can talk about our next pro, guys. Traffic is typically an area where when I'm riding it, I get so frustrated because people just do dumb stuff all the time. But this is an odd area where this bike just really comes into its own. It almost makes traffic bearable. I don't mind being in traffic. Because there are less controls, what I have found is it allows me to focus more energy on cars around me, where I'm riding, and it just makes me more aware of my situation because I'm able to divert the focus that I would typically focus on my clutch and what gear I'm in, because there's no gears, there's no clutch, there's nothing. It's literally just me focusing on riding, and in a area where it is extraordinarily dense in the amount of information you're trying to take in. It is really helpful in a situation like this. That mixed with the thin handlebars. Now, you know, we can't lane split legally here in Atlanta, but this bike is such a good lane splitting bike because of how thin it is. I mean, you guys can kind of see handlebars are very thin. So if you're in California or something like that, I think you guys would absolutely dig this bike for lane splitting. But it's actually a rare little thing when a motorcycle can make me not hate traffic, and I have found that this is the only bike that does that for me. Like right now, I do not mind that I'm here riding around really dumb people. It's like a pro, but you don't want to use the pro. You know what I'm saying? It's like, oh man, it makes riding in traffic not terrible. But even at the end of the day, it's like, who wants to ride in traffic? I get you. I'm right there with you. Look at this. No clutch, no nothing. What gear I'm in? Who knows? Nobody cares. Wait, I'm not in a gear technically, but you know what I mean? Where's my clutch? How much engagement do I have? It don't matter. I'm just chilling, just having a good time. Now, the next pro we have to talk about is range, at least at low speed. So, with a full charge going under 55 miles an hour, this bike has a claimed range of 121 miles. When you're riding in the city, you can spend a lot of time riding, but you don't actually cover a lot of miles. So that 120 mile range is going to feel like absolutely forever when you're in an environment like this. At least as long as you're going under 55 miles an hour. Now, if you go above that, we'll have to talk about that later in the video. All right, guys, let's talk about my next and probably favorite aspect of the entire motorcycle, and that is regen braking. And what that does is on electric bikes, when you let go of the throttle, it actually starts like energizing the battery by slowing you down. So it almost like, as a rider, it feels like engine braking, but it's not. And it's really strong on this bike. And what you can also do is customize how strong you want it to be. So you can actually make your own custom mode, make it stronger or less. Now, I love Regen Breaking because it's so strong that it legitimately makes it so you do not have to use the brakes on this motorcycle. You can literally just let off the throttle and it will start slowing you down. Now, obviously, similar to engine braking, it'll slow you down when you're going higher speeds, but when you need to get under like 10, you might need to use the brakes. Now, there is something about Regen Breaking that had me worried at first. Similar to when you use engine braking, it slows your bike down without using your brakes, so what happens is the rear brake light doesn't light up. So the Regen Breaking is not like that on this bike. So when I do Regen Breaking, I'll speed up here and let it slow me down. As you can see, the rear brake light actually intelligently comes on because it knows it's slowing me down. I was terrified about this at first because I'm like, dude, cars don't pay attention to you. And I've been riding too many times because I engine brake a lot on the motorcycles that I ride. And I've had cars almost run into me. So what I end up telling people a lot is just pull in the front brake a little bit or the rear brake a little bit, only to light your rear brake light up. But on the Mulholland, you don't have to do that because it's smart enough to do it for you, which is awesome. Okay, so I get going again. And Regen, lights coming on. I was really surprised by this. And honestly, at first I was terrified to use Regen Breaking because I didn't know if I could trust it. But I've rode enough now with the camera off the back of the bike and seen it working that I'm like, okay, cool. This is something I can trust. So guys, the next thing we got to talk about is the pride and joy about an electric bike, and that is the from zero power that these bikes have. If you guys are unfamiliar, electric motorcycles have an incredible amount of torque, and they allow you to have that power from zero. And in my experience on the Livewire Mulholland, this bike is so fun. And you can have a crazy amount of power, and if it's not delivered well, then it really is uncontrollable and you can't really use it. In my experience, even with the power and the throttle at 100, this thing is incredibly manageable, even with the crazy amount of acceleration that you get. Oh my good God, this traffic is terrible. In situations like this where you're going red light to red light, there is literally no motorcycle, no car faster than an electric motorcycle. It's so fun. I love it so much. The only problem is you are going to assassinate your range. The final pro that really stuck out to me, and I did not expect this, is the comfort of this motorcycle. Now, it's up for debate if this is an actual cruiser. Everybody said, like, all the marketing says that this is an electric cruiser. I don't know if I believe that, but because of the body position and the seat, the bike is actually incredibly comfortable to ride. If you guys look at this bike from the front, or potentially from my perspective here, you can tell it's a very thin motorcycle, and because it's very thin, the seat is also very thin. So I was a little worried when I first saw this bike. I was like, dude, that super thin seat is gonna be so uncomfortable so quickly, but I have been happily surprised with that. Now, throughout the month that I've had the Mulholland, I've got the opportunity to do a couple multi-hour trips, and I can happily say the seat has been totally fine the entire time. Once you get close to that 2-hour mark in the seat, it does start to be a little tiring, but I mean, you're on an electric motorcycle, you're really not going to be doing that long of trips because the battery can only last so long. You're going to have to stop and charge it at some point in time. So the seat comfort actually translates really well with how comfortable or how long the battery lasts on the bike. Kind of weird how they kind of match up there. Another thing that I found out on those multi-hour trips, when I got to the 2-hour mark, you know, and your butt starts hurting, you start wiggling around on the bike trying to figure out a way to get comfortable. Well, check this out. As you guys can probably see from my perspective, the handlebars on this bike are pretty high up. And because of that, you can stand up super comfortably on this. Look at this. My legs are fully extended and my arms are still only slightly bent. This is an incredibly comfortable position to get in. I would have never thought, looking at this motorcycle, it would be comfortable to stand up, but it is so comfortable and really helps if you're doing longer rides. Now, before we get too amped up on all the awesome things about this motorcycle, let's discharge some of the negatives. You see what I did there? Oh, what's that? Oh, we just lost 50% of the people still watching? Huh. Well, they missed out on the giveaway. All right, so guys, let's talk about this giveaway real fast. So we linked up with not only Livewire, but with Cardo and with Alpine Stars to give you guys an absolutely sick giveaway. So we've got a link in the description for you guys to go get entered. Now, if you go to that link, it's going to show you how to get bonus entries into the giveaway for following our Instagram pages, sharing this video out, and other stuff like that. The page will show you everything. Now, let's talk about prizes because, bro, it is absolutely stacked. Cardo put in one of their Pack Talk Pros, which is their absolute newest model that I use. Absolutely love it. Alpine Stars is putting in a Tech Air 3 airbag vest. I've got the Tech Air 5 on right now. This thing is so expensive and they're giving it away. It's absolutely fantastic. And then Livewire is doing a whole bundle of stuff. So if you guys want to go get entries into that giveaway, links in the description down below. Go get you guys some free stuff and let's finish up this review. All right, guys, so let's talk about one of the cons of the bike, and that is the dash. Now, the dash itself is not a con, but its placement is a con. So this might not seem as obvious to you guys because you're a wide-angle action camera on the front of my helmet, but as far as my eyes in my helmet, the lowest I can see if I'm looking forward right now is right here. I cannot see my hand where it is, and if we look down, that is right above where the screen is. So it makes it to where if I want to focus on the screen or see what's going on down there, I have to look all the way down to see that. And I don't really love that. I also understand that if the screen was up here, this bike would not look as good as it currently does. So, like, this is one of those situations where I'm like, I don't like the screen position, but then if I was to tell the designers of Livewire what to do, I'd be like, I have no idea. I just don't like the fact that I have to look so far down to see what's going on. That being said, I really don't look at the screen that much, and that's probably because of its position, but, you know, especially in town, it ain't like you're going to be speeding in traffic. Dude, the Livewire was literally meant for bullcrap traffic like this. Traffic's barely moving, but I am good. There's no hot bike underneath me. I ain't got to worry about my clutch hand. My hand ain't got nothing to do. I'm just back here chilling. So the next con while we're stuck in this traffic, guys, are the mirrors. Now, exact same situation as the dash. The mirrors are low slung and they look awesome. The only problem is to see them, I have to do these little arm moves and they're way down there. So again, like right now, I'm looking for Patrick because he's behind me with all the camera gear and stuff. And to find him, I have to make a pretty dramatic look underneath me. And the mirrors are a little more important than the dash because when you're riding in an urban setting, which is, you know, what this whole video is focused on, you have to have your head on a swivel, man. There's so much stuff going on that you have to, like, always be mindful of what's going on around you. So having your mirrors in a good spot to be able to see what's going on, it really helps that out. It helps you keep up with what cars are on your sides and stuff like that. Now, I have seen a lot of people comment that what they do is they get a Livewire Mulholland and then they'll basically swap their mirrors and put them so where they're facing upwards. Like, that would work and, you know, that fixes the problem. But again, the bike is not going to look like it's intended and it's going to lose some of that cool look that it currently has. I'm sorry, Livewire. I don't know how you fix this problem, but it is a problem nonetheless. All right, we're going to turn off this road. I want to get going. But actually, that does remind me of one of the other negatives of the bike, and it's kind of a weird negative, and I'll explain. So, the turn signal button has a lack of feel when canceling the turn signal. I don't know if you guys have ever ridden. I literally just tried to shift. That's hilarious. So, a lot of bikes do this really cool thing where if your turn signal is on and you go to cancel it, you can feel a click. But if the turn signal is not on and you go to cancel it, you don't feel anything. So the Livewire Mulholland, you don't feel anything ever. And I don't love that. I love the click that lets me know, like, it's just a little tactile thing that's like, good job, you canceled your turn signal. But another thing to note is that the Livewire Mulholland, good God, that was a big hole. This bike does have self-canceling turn signals. So it could be argued that this con doesn't even really matter since the bike will do it for you. But as a safety aspect, I like turning my own turn signals off anyway. Even if they auto cancel, I still like pressing the button just to be safe. And it's kind of annoying that I don't have a little click. I definitely want some sort of click. All right, guys, next thing I'm going to talk about is the body position. Now, I know earlier in the video I said that I liked the body position and it was comfortable. I agree with that. But I do wish my arms were a little farther out. Right now, they're a little T-Rexy. They look like, you know, I got little T-Rex arms. What I want, especially with this being a cruiser, again, don't agree with that, but that's neither here nor there. That's just a verbiage thing. But there is a little bump in the seat to kind of let you know, because it's one long seat. There's a little bump in it to where you as the rider know it's like, okay, cool, that's as far as the seat goes. So I can only sit so far back, and this is as far back as I get. And as you guys can probably see in my arms, they're still very bent. I almost want my arms to be, you know, fully extended. And as you guys can see, that would only take moving them like an inch or so forward. And I think that would be an overall better body position, because right now with my bent arms, it's kind of a weird situation. And like if I moved all the way, oh my God, that seat is so uncomfortable to sit like this. But this is kind of how I want to be on. I want my arms to just be slightly bent. But obviously I cannot sit like that because that bump would go directly up my ass. And nobody wants that. Oh, well, I guess I take that back. Some people might want that. I personally do not want that. All right, guys, the next con is a big deal, at least for a lot of people. And that is the noise, or I guess the lack of noise on the Livewire. Now, if you guys have never ridden an electric bike, it is a strange feeling riding a bike around, and it sounds like this. Right? Wind noise. That's all you got. Now, when you really get on it with this bike, you do get like this little electric whine. I'll see if the road gets straight, I'll show you guys what it sounds like, hopefully. All right, here we go. If you really get on it, it sounds like this. I don't know if you guys could hear that over the wind noise, but it's just really cool, like little electric noise. But I do understand the want for, you know, an engine on your motorcycle. And actually, we have Pat with us. I'll get him to, come here, Pat. Come here, Pat. If you could show the people what a regular engine sounds like. So, I do totally get that a lot of people like the engine of a motorcycle, and I do as well. I really, you know, like, I'm here for the cool exhaust and the bike sounding good, especially when you get them revved out. You know, there's some motorcycles that sound absolutely bonkers, like the Yamaha R6. Absolute bonker motorcycle when you really rev that motorcycle out. And I will admit, I do miss that a little bit on the Mulholland. If you look at this motorcycle, it has such a cool look. This bike has most certainly has a vibe of it. And I don't know, this look really makes me want to have like a really loud exhaust on the side of it. And I do miss that. It's kind of a weird thing, right? The bike looks like, oh man, I bet the bike sounds sick if somebody's just standing next to it. Can you imagine, dude, you're in a parking lot, somebody's looking at your bike, and you're in a gas station and you just went in to get a drink or something, and you come back out and the guy's like, bro, that bike looks sick, I bet it sounds awesome. And then you turn it on and ride off and it makes no noise. That would be literally hilarious. I really want that to happen. I want that to be a thing. Alrighty, guys, final con on the Mulholland, and it's the con for every freaking electric motorcycle, and that's the range. You know, above going city street speeds. So as I said earlier, this bike has a claimed range of 121 miles an hour as long as you keep it 55 miles and under. So that is in town great. But if you're like me and you enjoy enthusiastic riding, you generally are going to have to ride to the mountains or the canyons, and then you have a good time, and then you ride home. So it does involve some highway, and while you're on those areas, you're going to be riding spiritedly. When you ride spiritedly on the Mulholland, the battery percentage left just drops off a cliff so quickly. And that is a problem with battery technology as it currently is. You know, motorcycles don't have a lot of space and a lot of weight ability to put a lot of batteries in. Like the Audi e-tron in front of me, that thing's entire floor can be a battery. You can't really do that with motorcycles these days. And it just sucks that battery technology is not where it is, because the Mulholland, riding it spiritedly when I has been so fun. The small handlebars, it throws back and forth so nicely. It has really been surprising to ride this in like a spirited way. I take this thing up to, what's it called, Red Top Mountain a couple times, and you would not think this bike would throw back and forth easily and track well through a turn, but my goodness, you would be so wrong. Another thing that's a little weird with the battery percentage is, you know, we're dealing with something that doesn't have a ton of range. So every percent, every mile you have is extraordinarily important. And from what I've noticed, I'll be riding the Mulholland, and I've put the bike in situations where I have been riding at a consistent speed, a consistent pace, because I wanted to see if the battery percentage would go down consistently. And I've had situations where it was going down at a specific rate, and then that rate would vary. So instead of like continually going down, like let's just say 1% per mile, which is, it's kind of close if you're at 55 miles an hour or under. I've had a situation where I was like, all right, cool, I'm going to ride for 45 miles an hour, and I would watch it go, I'd go 1 mile, it would go down 1%, and then sometimes it wouldn't just go down 1%. So the battery percentage, you know, assessment that it gives you down here, like it tells me 59 miles of range at 51%. That is not totally the same if you continue riding in the exact same way. And little things like that can really start messing with you, because you're relying on those miles to, you know, if you're riding around town, maybe you're trying to make sure that you make it to a charge point. And what if you plan that, you know, you're going to hit a charge point in 58 miles and you have a mile left? Like, obviously, that's kind of a note. Don't let yourself get to a 1% zone, because if you run into an issue, like I have with this bike, I was riding it out, and I wasn't at like 1% or anything, but I took it to a charging point, and both of the charging points weren't working. So I was like luckily I had percentage. I just went and found another charge point, but it's like, had I been at 1%, I would have had a major problem. So having that battery percentage, you know, estimator not like as perfect as it possibly could be makes me a little, you know, it's like, that sucks, man, because now, because I can't rely on that, I'm going to get range anxiety. And I really haven't gotten range anxiety that much with this bike. I haven't planned any, you know, 120 mile rides, you know what I mean, or 100 mile rides, because I don't want to push it. You know, I don't want to put myself in a situation where I F around and find out. But it stinks, man. If anything, the Mulholland makes me sad, because this is the most fun I've had on any electric bike, period. Even more than the Livewire 1, because the Livewire 1 is a sportier bike, so it makes you want to ride sporty, which destroys the battery. This bike is not like that. This bike gets me excited because I can just ride and chill on this thing, and I feel like I'm enjoying myself. I can cruise around town and just cruise. I don't have to ride fast. which means it's good in that area, but it's just missing a tiny bit. I don't know what that vehicle is, but I have to know. Yeah, I hate to say that at the end of the day, this bike makes me feel sad, but it does. It literally does so many things so fantastic. What is that? Weird. That's awesome. That is cool. Bro, what is that? So yeah, guys, sorry, I got totally distracted by that giant tank of a vehicle. But guys, I wish you could understand how upset I am that the range is what it is on the Mulholland. Like, this bike makes me sad. It does everything so freaking well. And if the battery range could just stay 120-ish, even at going higher speeds, I think this thing would be an absolute blow it out of the park electric motorcycle. It's just that range, and like, I haven't done extensive testing, and I don't know I'm not going to sit here and talk technical terms about watt hours and all that kind of stuff. That stuff doesn't make any sense to me. But 120 miles is solid. 120 miles on highway would be phenomenal. But I think the estimated range on the highway is like 71 if you have a full tank or a full charge. But let me tell you guys, if you get on the highway and you start doing 75, 80, which is the speed you have to go on the highway here in America, you watch your percentage literally walk up to a cliff and jump off and just free fall. It is absolutely insane. And it always sucks, man, because I'm always headed to do some fun riding, and I'm on the highway and I'm just watching the percentage go like 99, 98, 97, 96, 95. You know what I'm saying? And every percentage it drops down, I think to myself, well, there's one less section I can ride, or, that's one bit more anxiety I'm going to have on the way home. So at the end of the day, the con is not necessarily the motorcycle. It's really with battery technology right now. And man, I can't wait till something changes. I love electric motorcycles. I just want the range to get a little better. After spending a few months with the Mulholland, I think I can easily say this is my favorite electric bike I've ridden. The mix of the really cool styling, the fun riding position, and the excitement of the power it puts down is the perfect combination to make it an amazing bike for urban settings. The Livewire 1 is more of a sport-focused bike, so the range really hurts it because it makes you want to ride fun roads, but the Mulholland actually excels in the city, which is where it gets the best range, so it's ideal for that. If the majority of your riding is in urban areas like we've been in today, then I would say this is easily the best electric bike on the market for that. I personally think that right now, Livewire are making some of the best electric bikes between styling and fit and finish. I'm just waiting patiently for battery technology to catch up before I personally make the jump to electric, because charging in a car might not be a big deal, but charging and waiting outside isn't gonna cut it for riders. All right, guys, we've been here long enough, and with all the electric cars circling this motorcycle, it's like sharks circling chum in the water. So we're going to give this spot back to all the other electric people. Let us know in the comments down below if you like this video, and hit the like button, obviously. But let us know what you think about the Mulholland in the comments down below. I'm Chaseontwowheels. You guys go and ride safe, my outro crew, and I'll see you on the next one.